I don't want to ask too much, but do you want to tell everybody what happened that day, from the beginning of the day to, you being in the hospital?
Yes. On February 20th, on February 10th, approximately, I'll say between 5 and 6, him and I was together. Prior to him shooting me, he put a gun to my head on January 3rd and pistol whipped me and broke my nose. On February 10th, I was going to the church for counsel for women that's been victim of domestic violence. He drove me to the church. Once we got to the church, he wouldn't let me out the car. Then the pastor's wife began to call my mother to see what was going on. Then my mother decided to call me. He wouldn't let me answer the phone. Since the pastor saw me trying to get out the car, he went back in to get his keys to follow us. By the time the pastor came out, him and I was gone. We went back to his sister's house, and when he jumped out the car, I thought something was going to happen. I just didn't know what was going to happen. I got out, and I went to the people's house next door for his sister and began to knock on the door. No one came to the door, so I went to his sister's house to knock on the door. And I was knocking and knocking, and she didn't answer the door. So as I began to turn around and walk down the steps, he was coming from the backyard with the gun. And I started to plead for my life by begging him not to shoot me. And as I said that, he just started shooting me, and I hit the ground. And then he told me to get up outside, I can't move. So he dragged me to the car. As he was driving, he was steady loading the gun. We drove into this open field, and he had the gun to my head. In my mind, I'm thinking, he's going to kill me and do away with my body, or I'm going to take a chance and get hit by jumping out the car running. Mm-hmm. When I say we serve an awesome God, I jumped out the car, shot and all. God protected me from getting hit by a car. I ran 10 minutes to the first house I got to, and I knocked on the lady's door. And she said, "What's going on?" I said, "Call the police. I've been shot by my husband." And as I said that, he pulled in her driveway with the gun, and she replied that the police was on their way, and he left. And I remember her taking me to her backyard, laying me down till the police got there. And the only thing I could do at that time was just call on Jesus. Please don't let me die. Please don't let me die. And so by then, the ambulance came, and the doctor was asking me, do I know who did this? And I said, yes, my husband. And then they asked me, was there anyone I wanted to call? I said, yes, my mother, which my mom had already got the phone call saying that he had shot and killed. And
so
they called me.
So not to cut you off, but I just want to ask you, what was going through your mind when you first saw the gun? When you first saw that he had a gun, what was going through your mind at that time?
The first thing went through my mind was he was getting ready to kill me. That was the first thing went through my mind, that I was getting ready to die. But by the grace of God, I'm here to tell my story.
Was it ever a time that you felt like I can survive this? First thing when one of us is hurt, that comes to our mind is, I'm going to die. Me, I'm a praying person, so my first thought is, let me pray. Let me ask God to forgive me of my sins, just because I'm prepared that if it should happen. But was it ever a time that you felt like, I'm going to survive, like I have to survive this?
It never crossed my mind. I just knew when I was laying on that ground, I was calling on God. Mm-hmm. And God heard my prayer. He heard my prayer. Because when one person gets shot one time, they don't live. Mm-hmm. You're looking at a woman, you talk to a woman that survived 7 gunshots. And I'm here to tell my story about it. Okay. And I just thank God, he had his hands all on me, because if he hadn't had his hands on me, I could have been dead. And now here's talking to you on the phone.
Well, I commend you. I've always told you that, it takes a very strong person to even endure any type of violence, but to go through what you have went through and still be able to talk to us today, it's only God. It's only a blessing. T, did you have any questions for her? Like, what's going through your mind listening to all of this?
It's just funny.
I'm asking T if she had any questions for you. If she had any questions for you.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment and say I commend you as well. I wanted to thank you as well. I tuned in to the last show that you were on, and I remember vaguely sitting on my porch in tears, listening to your story. And I thought I was kind of past that now. I'm better now because that was a year ago, but I'm still got tears in my eyes listening to your story. And I wanted to say thank you because listening to your story at that point in time last year, considering what I've been through in my own personal story, you really helped me to make my mind up as to not go back to my abusive situation. Your story could have been me, and it just touched me from the bottom of my heart. So I just want to say thank you for being brave enough to share, and you really have helped me.
Yeah, I think that to even talk about it now, I have so many people say, "Where's that lady? How's she doing?" I'm like, "She's doing great." I can't say mentally.
I would come there and actually tell my story around a lot of people, and it's not a day that goes by. Sometimes I think about it, I question, but why? Sometimes you can't question God about why things happen. Things happen for a reason. Maybe God was removing him out of my life. Something we just can't question it. We just have to leave it alone, leave it there. I just thank God for sparing my life like he did. And I thank God for all the prayers that was going out to me everywhere. Everywhere was going out. And I thank God for the praying mother that I have who never gave up, to continue to stand by my side and continue to pray. Because she said when she got the phone call saying that he had killed me, she said, my daughter ain't dead. She said she began to start praying, saying that no weapon that is formed against my daughter shall prosper. The gates of hell shall not prevail against her. And prayer makes glory. I said a lot of people don't believe God is real. I said, but I believe God is real. I was brought up in church. I know God is real. Anytime God spared my life, but you have some atheists who don't believe in God. And I said, well, who do you think woke you up this morning? I know you don't think the devil.
Well, it's a lot of people that don't believe in the higher being. So you and I, T, we talked a lot at dinner the other day, and we know that you have to have a exit plan. Now the message that we're going to give now is for everybody, and then I do want you, T, to tell a little bit about your life, what you've experienced. People, and it's men that are being abused, not only women, but you have to have an exit strategy. And the first thing that people will say is, well, why didn't you leave, and why didn't you this, and oh, you stupid, and oh, you this. First of all, usually once you get a restraining order, that's when that person really shows their true colors. Because to me, now they feel like, oh, you think you're doing something. I'm going to show you that you're not doing nothing. I'm going to kill you.
Right. Because
you look at the statistics as to, after a person gets a restraining order, that person normally acts out with, severe violence, whether it's murder or whether it's, now I'm going to stalk your ass to death, and it leads to all different kind of things. So I definitely want to say to anybody that may be listening and going through this, you need an exit strategy. You need to always have a certain amount of money. I don't care if it's that you put $1 up every day. You got to have an exit plan. That's my take on it. And I was abused at an early age, starting at 16 all the way to 20 something. And I lost myself in the midst of that. Not one time did I think I need to have my own money, because I was a young wife. Everything was, you do this, you do that. I take care of this, I take care of that. And now I don't have any money. I don't have anywhere to go. I have 4 kids. This man has already said that if I tried to leave, that he would kill me. So you have all these things in your mind, but at the end of the day, I had a plan, and it fell through. I mean, it went through, but a lot of people have a plan and it does not go through. So, but you definitely need to have a strong exit plan. You need to have a strong family relationship with your family, and you need to have strong friends that's gonna have your back too. So that's my take on it. What about you, T? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel blessed, because I was thinking ahead. I mean, I knew years ago that I was gonna have to eventually leave, because I mean, as time goes on, you realize it's not gonna get any better. And so I just feel fortunate that I was able, once I guess the straw that broke the camel's back happened, I was able to escape safely, with the help of my family and my kids and my support system. However, I mean, there's a lot of women out there who don't have that. They totally depend on their significant other to take care of them. And from what I found out, just with what I went through, it's not a lot of resources, especially here where we live, for women. Of course, the police department helped, of course, but I feel like with the police department, they would put me in a more dangerous situation.
I feel the same way sometimes.
Because
I feel the same way.
They were trying to build a case, and really, at that point, I wasn't interested in building a case or getting my spouse in trouble or anything. I really just wanted to get away, and I wanted to be safe. I wanted to know that I was going to be safe.
Right.
But like I said, fortunately, everything worked out. And you said something very important about having God in the mix. God has to be in the mix of all of that. He has to be in on your plan as well, because he's the only one who guided me and helped me. I wouldn't be where I would be now without God. Right. So yeah, I think God told me to leave before I was even ready to put my foot out
to go.
The door.
Yeah, I mean, and Michelle, did you ever think when you said he broke your nose in the beginning?
Yes.
Did you ever think about calling the police?
Oh, I did call the police, and he was arrested, and his brother bonded him out of jail. And so when it was time to go to court, we had no contact. Sometimes we'll still communicate. Him and I would communicate, and he kept telling me that he wants to work these out, that he's not going to do this again. So, of course, where I messed up at was I didn't go to court like I should have went to show him that I was serious. And things escalated from that point. But I believe that if I would have went to court and steady not going, trying to drop the charges, and believe him when he's saying that he's not going to put his hands on me again, that things would have went as far as they would have went.
Now, in some cases you can go to court, and I'm like you on that one. To me, I feel like I'm a very weird type of person. I feel like, just get away from me. I don't want nothing to do with you. Because if I send you to jail, then you're going to get out, and then it's going to be worse. Which I'm not saying don't call the police by any means. To anybody that's listening, you should call the police. But in the end, you got to know that if you call the police on this person, that it may come some repercussions. So that's when your exit plan kicks in. You can't call the police on this person. And you get a lot of young girls that do call the police, and then they drop the charges, don't go to court, and then boom, they end up beat up again, or in the situation like you, Michelle, to where